Welcome to the Kaur Show. This is episode 31, and me with my co host Ranjit Kaur once again today. This week has been really very important, we can say, in terms of the farmers' protest, and that is what we're going to discuss further today. And I welcome Penji Ranjit Kaur for that. Penji, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you in UK again in lockdown?
Yes, lockdown, major lockdown, and homeschooling. Puchna, it's
Oh,
it's
that's
hectic.
hard, I believe.
Yes, very
Yes,
much.
I know. So just I know it's really hard when you are going through lockdown, and also at home when you're sitting. I believe you must be going through a lot of news and social media updates with regard to the farmers' protest. And I think there has been a lot happening in terms of farmers' protest. There has been so many confusions as well. What do you think of that?
I think this week has been a lot of overwhelming feelings,
Mm,
and it's emotionally disturbing, and it's really hard. It's been hard watching those videos and not being able to be there and
yeah,
support them, like physically. But it's I think it's very hard, and then there's the guilt of, you feel that it's
mm,
hard, but then how do they feel on the ground? So there's all
that,
these mixed emotions, and it's I just find that it's very difficult. But
mm,
we know recently we spoke to Jaskaran Singh from India 2 weeks ago on the show from the Delhi protest live, and it was absolutely amazing to hear their stories live then. And then this week's been a complete different turn, and today we're going to be joined with live again with Rajveer Kaur, who's the director of the Project Punjab. So she's going to be discussing her experience and others' experience and the exposure of this week's events at the farmers' protest ground, which is going to be so good to hear, because then it's always nice to hear their experience there, right there, rather than what we just see on on the social media. So I think this
absolutely.
week's been very difficult for me, especially. I just find it very hard. But how have you been feeling, Benji?
Really speaking, it was really, as you mentioned, it was very overwhelming, as well as there was so many confusions that happened from the last week. So many events, and we didn't know who to trust and who not to trust. So it was really hard to, make any statements on that. But I believe with the time happening and with the just wait and watch situation, I believe some situations have cleared up and it's making more sense, and we can see that the andolan or revolution is still once again in chardi kala. And at the end, regardless who is there and who is not, we just want the victory of the farmers.
Definitely, that's what we want. And it's been over 2 months now. It's been 2 months, and it's in the cold, day and
More
night.
actually.
It's been more, yeah. It's been over 2 months. It's crazy to think what they're going through at especially now. But it's crazy. But let's get Rajveer Kaur on and hear her experience, and it'd be good to learn from her as well.
Sure. Welcome, Rajvi, once again to the Kaur Show. How you been doing?
Very well, ladies. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my experience. How are you guys doing today?
Hard. It's hard because we're hearing the news, but at the same time, it's reality. Reality is we still want justice, and that's why
Yeah,
we're carrying on, and that's why the
yeah,
farmers are in Chardikala, and that's what they say. We're in Chardikala. Don't worry about us. But
precisely.
really, that's
Yeah,
what we hear. But good to hear what your
yeah,
experience
yeah.
is, your connection over there.
That's
Yes.
right.
And
Just before that, just
whoever,
before you
sorry,
share your experience, Rajvi, maybe just let our audience know about yourself and a little bit about the Punjab project.
right. Hello, everyone. I am Rajveer Kaur, and so Project Punjab is basically it's a self-funded film which documents the folk culture or the folk dance forms of Punjab, and I travel through the length and breadth of Punjab to capture different folk dances, and that's how the Project Punjab sort of came into existence. And when the whole farmers' protest started, so I because the platform had such a good reach, I thought, I might as well use that platform to create or raise awareness about what is happening with our farmers from around the country, and use that platform to share information to, teach people about the black laws, or to educate them about what's happening, how we can help, how we can contribute, to make their protest safer, to make their protest easy. But whoever thought that the protests are, can ever turn out to be easy? I mean, they're never easy. They are quite a lot of struggle. So, I mean, it's really foolish for any of us to think that the protests can go smooth. It can never go smooth. I mean, in the history, we can go back and we can go through any protest so far, and we know that it has always been a great struggle, for something to actually come into existence and for us to find justice ultimately. It cannot be easy. It has to be, only then I think we can appreciate what we will achieve through this.
Is journalism your passion or career? Is this something you do for a living?
Not really. I'm actually a public relations professional. I run my own company. It's called Nomad Consultancy. It's a boutique public relations agency. So I have clients from around the world. So I'm a hardcore PR professional. But documentary just happened by chance because I'm so passionate about Punjab in general. Although I'm born and brought up in Hyderabad, but my roots are from Punjab, from a part called Nawashahar district in Punjab. We have a Pind, Usmanpur, and also because kheti is something that I grew up with. We have our own khet, our own farms. My father was a farmer before he became a businessman. My grandfather was a farmer. My grandparents were farmers from both sides. My mother was a farmer before she got married and moved to Hyderabad with my parents. So Punjab has been an integral part of my upbringing. And so was the folk culture of Punjab. And that's how, one thing led to another. And my interest sort of, pushed me to do more research about the folk culture of Punjab. And that's it. One thing led to another. And the Project Punjab came into existence. And then I decided to use that platform to do, to sort of diversify it and use it as a platform to create more awareness. And one thing led to another.
It's a great title, the Project Punjab, because it's exactly what's happening. And, do you think that people who are not connected to farming, do you think that there's a lot of them there as well? Because over here, I always hear, I'm not from the farming background, so I don't really understand or I don't resonate. But I am from a farming background, so I do resonate. But I do meet people that say, I'm not from there, so I don't really connect. Do you have that asked to you as well?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I have a lot of friends back home in Hyderabad who have been contributing to this protest in their own little way, probably monetarily or even sometimes, just sending solidarity messages to the farmers. Although they have absolutely no connection with farming, but still their heart goes out to this. I think once you educate yourself, it is very important that people who don't go by biases, they go out there and do their research and try and understand what's happening, what's transpiring, why is it happening. And those people become more sensitive and they just don't pay attention to one side of the story. They want to know, they want to learn more about both the sides of the stories. And these friends of mine and the people I meet or the people I interact with on social media, on the Project Punjab, or even on my personal profile, most of them are not from Kisani background, but still they feel for it. They have sensitized themselves about this topic and they are contributing in their own little way, if not monetarily, but maybe by, I have a couple of friends who've actually visited the borders when I was there. They came, they spent time with the farmers, and I have seen tears in their eyes. So you can't say that you have to be a farmer or you have to come from that background for you to sort of resonate with this cause. No.
Yeah, absolutely correct, Rajvi. So, Rajvi, since we spoke to you last time, I think a lot has changed at the protest. There have been so many events that has happened and so many turmoils, I think ups and downs we can see. And even I heard one statement, someone said, "Ke pehla mela si, te revolution hun start hoya." That was one of the statement as well. What do you think of the current situation that's over there?
See, I'll
Are the
tell you
people still in
exactly.
Chartikala?
Absolutely. It has come back. I mean, for the first, on 2016, I'll tell you my experience. I was there. In fact, for 2 nights just before so I've been there since 13th. I celebrated Lodi there. And on 25th, I stayed at the border. On 26th, I stayed at the border. And only on 28th, I got back to Patiala for some work. But while I was there, I'll tell you, yes, it was quite stressful after what transpired, because the media was only showing few aspects which kind of became, a good content for them, to show people, how farmers are not doing what they're expected to do as compared to, what they wanted to do, in terms of peaceful protest. And but when I was there, I'll tell you, when I woke up in the morning on 26th, just 25th, there was a positive vibe everywhere. This is literally on Tikri border. And I have friends who've gone from Singhu straight, these are girls I'm talking about. So I'll only give you references of girls who went from Singhu border for the parade, for the tractor parade, and they were there at the Red Fort when whatever transpired there. So when I was there, we woke up in the morning, early morning. We went and we distributed first aid kits to all the tractors, which were sort of going towards the parade. So that means somewhere we had preempted that anything can happen. And it's a protest at the end of the day. And like, Gurinda mentioned that in the first phase, it was like a mela. And in the second phase, now we are in the second phase, literally. And I remember Kamal Garewal had done a small live, showcase on stage, and where he mentioned that there are three phases. First phase is where we saw, that everyone was having a good time. But the second phase, this is the phase where now we have to be all the more active, to sort of give a momentum to this protest. And when I was there, when we went and we distributed medical kits, so somewhere we preempted it, following which we actually walked with the trolleys, because there were so many tractors and trolleys and people in their cars who wanted to be a part of this parade. So the vibe, the whole atmosphere was absolutely electrifying. So no one can say that people went with an intention or a mindset to create any kind of ruckus. I didn't see that. I have seen small kids, who are part of this whole protest. So when you have seen this, you expect it to obviously turn out to be successful. And honestly, what we saw on the media is on our TVs or on whatever was being circulated is just one side of the story, where they showcased obviously that there was vandalizing of public properties, and there was stone pelting, there was tear gas shelling and all of that. But what they didn't show is, the 98% of the protest or the protesters were actually following the route, the designated route which was given to them. So it's only the 2% which got all the highlights, but also we could not share any content because there was no, like when I was there at the border, I had limited internet service, absolutely zilch actually. So I couldn't connect, I couldn't share anything, I couldn't check my Insta stories, I couldn't check my Instagram or any of the social media platforms. I couldn't share any information. Calls were not going through. We couldn't connect with the friends who were at different, locations. Like I had friends who were at Nangloi, where one of the tear shelling and lathi charge happened. And my friends who were there at the Republic Day parade, the Trolley Times team. So a few of them, they had gone there to distribute Trolley Times at the Republic Day parade. And so we couldn't connect with any of them. I couldn't connect with my journalist friends who were there at the, Red Fort, who saw things happening live. And when I spoke to them, what I learned from them was, there was not even a single person, there were people who were actually standing and taking pictures with Nihang Singhs. And here you're trying to show them that they are miscreants. So the narrative, the way the narrative was showcased, and for some time even we kind of fell for it, because we had absolutely no source of information. So it was all hearsay for us. So whatever we heard, we believed in that, and we were scared. I remember calling up my father and I cried and I said, look what they've done. Because when you spend time with those farmers, when you've seen them, in those extreme weather conditions, struggling for the last 2 months, sitting, in those trolleys, sleeping in those trolleys and away from their homes, then your heart goes out to them. So I started crying when I called up my father. I said, they've ruined the protest. They've ruined the protest. It's only later, once the other side of the whole, the protest or the whole tractor parade started coming into existence. When we spoke to our friends, we could finally connect with them. Is when we learned that how things were shown, which were only like 2% of what has transpired, vis-a-vis, the 98% was just not shown on most of the popular media. And once we had access, and everyone who was associated, who was connected with this protest, they started amplifying content on social media. But it was only possible because I had to move out of the Tikri border and I went to Gurgaon and I had access to internet. So when you're there at the border, we didn't have access to internet, and it was very difficult for anybody to connect with anyone, to share information. So there is obviously, when you have a situation like that, there is fear, right? And you also somewhere think, and there are rumors again, and there is no source to clarify those rumors, to get to the bottom of what actually happened. So there was fear, but somehow there was this, I don't know how to put it, but although there was fear, but people kind of knew that we are still going to be there. We will still win it.
Did the farmers that were there, did they know that the network was going to become disabled or go down?
No, none of us knew that. But that's a typical way of oppressing any protest, right? I mean, this has happened in Kashmir, how they had cut down the internet. And I think even during Shaheen Bagh, they had done something like this. So nobody had preempted something like this.
And so you mentioned that this is the second phase now. In a protest like this, how many phases are expected to be done in order to be heard?
I think this is something that I've learned from different people, after speaking to them. They said this is the second phase, and it's only in the third phase is when we will actually be making the difference. We are actually meant to make. There's this really beautiful video, I will share it with you, by Kamal Grewal. The way he explains it to the youth, that how we are not supposed to, josh mein hosh mat kho dena. Because now is the time. What happens is, because of the kind of narratives which are doing the rounds on social media, there is a possibility of all of us becoming aggressive or losing our focus from what we are actually fighting from. And he has requested people to stay, sane, to focus on what we are fighting for, and also to unite and come together rather than falling prey to the rumors, falling prey to the strategies which are being deployed by the police or by the government. So 3 phases is what I've learned about. And the third phase is when we will actually be, achieving what we are meant to achieve.
I think that's very right. I think patience is the key. And the longer this revolution goes, this protest goes, I think there are higher chances that we will come back with victory. So patience is what it's gonna, keep the pace. And
Right.
And Rajvi, we know that internet was disconnected over there, and likewise we heard that there were also disconnection of water supply as well as electricity as well. And
Right.
this definitely shows up that the government is actually panicked. That's why they are doing all these things and these kind of acts, that they don't want this protest to actually carry on. But still, it's going on. That's the spirit of Chartikala, we can say.
Yeah.
And I remember,
And
Rajvi,
no, so I just wanted to highlight when you spoke about electricity, when you spoke about the water problem, because I am working, I know of a lot of youngsters who've come from different parts of the country. In fact, there are youngsters who've come from, who are living abroad, but they've come down to India for this protest, especially. And how, when situations like these came up, in the last 1 week, how everyone came together to ensure that items were provided or essentials were provided to the farmers at the border, especially at Ghazipur, where they were massively under threat, considering they were asked to vacate the place, right, by the cops. And how Rakesh Tiket, stood for them, and how people came together to ensure, they had enough water, the food. So it's unbelievable it's actually, when you think that things will fall flat, but then you suddenly see that things are actually working out beautifully. And I think there's a reason why everything transpired, because now, this time, the way we all have come together, there's a very different need jida aapa Punjabi ch kehne na. So you need to have a right need. So now the need has become much stronger, the intent has become much stronger, uh, the enthusiasm is something else now amongst people, the youngsters. There are so many young volunteers who are not leaving any loophole to ensure that these farmers have everything right now that they need, like right from arranging solar panels so that we are in a situation where there's no electricity, so at least we have solar panels or solar backups, those power banks for your mobile phones, and also options where you don't have internet services, so there are other platforms that you can use sort of to connect with people. So a lot of people have put their brains together here, so that clearly shows that we are not going to give up. Come on.
You were, are you going to go back to the grounds soon, or because you're not there now,
Yes.
Hannah?
I got back on 28th because it can get overwhelming. So I totally, I have huge respect for farmers for staying there for the last 2 months, because I go in batches. Like I was there in December for almost 2 weeks. Then I came back, I took a break, I went back home to Hyderabad, but मेरा जी नहीं लग गया उथे. So I came back and I had decided, I celebrated New Year's with them. Then I decided now to celebrate Lodi. So I came back for Lodi. I had booked a return ticket, but I cancelled it. I don't have a return ticket still. So मैं ਹੁਣ पटियाला आई हूँ. I'm going to take some break because it was absolutely overwhelming. Even now when you read information, or when you are, because we kind of connected all the volunteers. So while you're making arrangements, and while you there are times in the middle of the night you get information, oh, this has happened. So you're on tenterhooks in a way, and so I'm going to take a break. I will come back. Yes, I will be going back to the border, definitely. That's where my heart is. Probably next week is when I decide to sort of be there with them.
You mentioned previously in the previous show that it's very safe for the girls, very safe to stay there. Now after the
Yes.
second phase, do you still feel like it's still that safe?
I still feel it's very safe, because I have friends who are still visiting the border, who are there the whole day. In fact, I stayed like I was sleeping at the border for like 2-3 nights. Um, uh, People ensure that, especially the babajis, the farmers, the ladies there, they ensure that, especially when we come in, they are all the more protective. So still, even now, when I speak to my friends who are regularly visiting different borders, they have not even once sort of expressed their discomfort or any instance where they have been, where they felt not protected or not safe in the borders. So yes, I will never believe, if someone comes and says they've felt uncomfortable there, because a lot of my friends have started now going from Delhi to. In fact, recently, yesterday, one of my blogger friends, she's an influencer, and she visited the border. And I spoke to her, and I asked her, what was your experience like? She said, oh my God, Rajvi, I don't know why I didn't go in the last 1 month when you were insisting, that I should go and pay a visit. She's like, it was one of the best experiences.
And when you say you're sleeping at the border, how is that, like in a tent, or how are you literally sleeping there in the border? Like, is it with many other journalists or your friends, or?
So we have a volunteer team. We all have bonded really well. So we all come together whenever there's a problem, there's an issue, and we want to collect funds or make sure the items are arranged. We've set up a library there. It's called Narakat Library. It's set up by these two really young kids from Sangrur, and one is from Fazilka, Arman, and they've been there at the border right from the day one. And one is Tani Kaler. His name is Gurpreet Singh Sani. So they were there at the border at Nanakat Library right from the day one. So with their help, we kind of set up the library. We've created a small shelter. When anyone is coming and volunteering there, you can sleep. And we've also created like some camps outside. So if a girl is uncomfortable sitting in, sleeping in that shelter, she can sleep outside in the camper. So and we have gadde, we have rajaya, we have and the food is never in shortage when you're there at the border. When it comes to us, we ensure that everybody is well fed. So, and there are washrooms. We've spoken to a tabba close by, and we've taken permission from them. They lock the toilets, the bathrooms for women. So we just have to go take the key, use it, and give it back to them. So these are little things that they've done for to ensure women are. And in fact, if I have to use a washroom sometimes in the middle of the night, I have been literally chaperoned by these boys to the portable toilets that has been set up in the border. So you sleep there, and obviously, you're brushing outside on the highways. It's literally like you're camping. Yeah,
Absolutely. I think it's a great way still, like, with all these odds
yeah,
and you guys are still enjoying
yeah,
this.
yeah,
Now, I don't want to touch any controversial part of the protest. Just to, we want to stay positive.
yeah,
But just with the latest events that has happened since 26th, it seems that some of the people are actually, rather than making it as a farmers' protest and standing for the farmers, it's
yeah,
also a section of it is also becoming like a Hindu Sikh protest as well. There is a
yeah,
face-off happening between the two ends, and even today
yeah,
we had a protest where BJP and RSS came there to hold their own rally, and on
yeah,
one side of the road there were farm protest happening for farmers in Melbourne. So,
yeah.
do you have a message for this section of people about whether this should be happening or not? I mean, why this is happening? I don't think so.
It's really sad, because I'll tell you, I don't know if my message will make any sense to them, considering I have lost many friends in the last 2 weeks, who've called me terrorist, and these are andhbhakts, who they've called me terrorists,
And
they've
they
called
are
me
everywhere.
liars. Yeah, and they've
Yes.
called me liars. And these friends have been in my life for more than a decade. And so there has been a lot of blocking and unfollowing and whatnot and futile arguments. I have only suggested, I keep suggesting everyone, in fact, my friends and family, that, instead of spending your energies on trying to convince them or to make any sense to them, because no matter how much information you share with them, they refuse to read it or watch it. All they keep doing is tagging you in information which is anti-farmers. you know
Hmm.
so my request to them is, we agree to disagree. If you do not agree with what I believe in, then don't try to impose your ideas on us. You can do whatever you feel is right for you. If you are, even after, if you don't wish to educate yourself about what is happening with the farmers, if you wish to sort of make it more of a Sikh protest instead of making it a farmers protest, uh, then that's your choice. But do not discredit or do not discount what the farmers have been doing, or by calling people terrorists. You are literally, showcasing that uh, you're worse than educated people. And these are educated people that I'm talking about, really well educated people
Yeah.
who are well traveled, well with good exposure. Uh, when they do this, then I don't know how you can actually make them understand.
Yeah.
So
And
we've
you're
had
absolutely right. There are
arguments.
unbugs. Yes.
Yeah, unbugs. Yeah, they're literally unbugs.
Yeah. And it's
So
really hard to educate them. Yes, definitely.
yeah, it is. It is. No matter what
Yeah.
you tell them, they will not believe you. This has happened to us multiple times, and now finally we've decided. In fact, I did a small reels which was shared by a lot of people, where I said how to handle, how to
Hmm.
sort of tackle, or how to deal with an andhbhakt. Where I said, be
Yeah.
kind, and do not engage in any futile arguments with them. If there's no point, because you will end up wasting your own energy. Rather use that energy in amplifying pro farmer protest, instead of making sense to them. Share more
That's right.
information on
Yes.
your social media platform. Yeah, yeah. So
Maybe do you have a message for people like who are confused at this stage, especially youth? I believe they're very confused about what's happening. We know there are some confusions with regard to multiple stages over there and the news that's coming up. Probably, I think
yeah,
youth is very confused at this time, and they don't
yeah,
know how they can support and what should they be supporting. Do you have a
yeah.
message for them?
First thing is, I think all of us, since you can't be a part of the protest here and you're sitting at home and you are confused, follow platforms like Trolley Times. Trolley Times is, literally giving you real-time information. The team has ensured that, the simple things like, people who disappeared during on 26th, they've made a list of people who've disappeared. They are sharing the list of lawyers who are helping these helping these farmers who've been arrested to rescue them, and they will give you real-time updates. So instead of following every second platform, and instead of getting instigated and becoming aggressive sitting at home, try to follow pages who will give you credible information. And Kisan Ekta Morcha and Trolley Times, these are two credible platforms right now which will give you right information as to what is happening there. Instead of following million accounts, or 15 different accounts who are probably sort of instigating you or sharing information which might make your blood boil. I think we should, if you're really interested in supporting farmers, focus on only supporting farmers, and let go of other agendas, let go of other propagandas and other narratives. We can work on it later once this protest is done. Maybe we can focus on that later. But right now, farmers' protest should be our priority. And when you share information which is pro farmers protest, and also repealing those black laws, because that is the main agenda of this protest. So to eliminate any confusion, I've been asking many people, whoever I come across, I tell them, please follow these two platforms if you want real-time information, because they are literally bursting the myths or the rumors which have been doing the rounds. And there's this another account, Jasveer.earth. He's a lawyer himself, and he gives you a lot of actual information. So if you follow them, they will break things step by step for you to get more clarity about what is happening and what is the trail. So that's what I have literally unfollowed so many accounts which I feel are kind of digressing from the main purpose of this protest.
No, and I really like Trolley Times. I think they've done a fantastic job.
Excellent.
And I like how they've got it in English as well. And when people talk, I've joined Clubhouse, and when they talk about this in groups there, they do say, but Trolley Times is only in Punjabi. I'm like, it's in Hindi, Punjabi, it's in English. Their editions are there. And then I send it to them if they need any info. And I think they're doing a great job, because they're still there live doing. And it's real time. And speaking to Ajay, it was really good as well 2 weeks ago. And it's professionals delivering professional news in a professional manner. So, but I did want to touch on what you said earlier with your friends and people that are a bit confused. Do these people are they not there at the actual grounds to see physically what is happening in real time? Do they not feel? Do they not see? Do they not have the exposure, or do they just watch news and or brainwashed that way? Are people not?
So the people who are pro BJP or who are on the bhags, they obviously follow what is being. I'll tell you what. So I'm surrounded by information which is pro farmers, because those are the people I'm surrounded by. Now these people are surrounded by information, and also they watch Godi media. Now when you're watching Godi media, obviously you are served with information which is anti-farmers, which is anything that is they'll put anything that is anti-Modi into bad light, right? So when you are constantly fed with that information, I'm talking about friends who have been in my life for more than 15 years, and suddenly they are calling me a terrorist, and I have not taken it to my heart, honestly speaking, because I feel, they are just brainwashed, but they think we are brainwashed. You see, so just like we think we are brainwashed, they're thinking, we are brainwashed. So that's a constant conversations. They actually call me brainwashed. I was like, I think you're brainwashed. Now, what do you do with the people? Because they also don't know what to do with us.
That's very right.
I'm just giving, they don't know what to do with us, and we don't know what to do with them. So the thing is that information which is coming out, it has been divided in a very, how do I say, I don't have a word for it, but it's just the kind of information that is being showcased on the mainstream media and the popular media or the so-called Godi media is so biased. Biased that a person sitting in a village, who's a hardcore pro-BJP supporter, will only believe in that. For them, Modi is God. For them, Modi can't do anything.
And we have seen so much trend yesterday. That's right, yes. And we have seen so many trends like happening on social media yesterday where people are posting the copy and pasting saying, if you have, problems with
Yeah,
my views, unfriend me, or if you're friend with
yeah,
BJP or this and that. So there
yeah,
are so many
yeah,
such posts. So this is actually already
yeah.
trending, we
Yes,
know. So
yes,
everyone is
yes.
relating to that, what I believe.
All of my friends, I mean, they've been having a lot of problems with their friends, when especially during this whole 26th thing happened, right, at the Red Fort. After that, we've really seen people who were like hardcore unbugs turn their backs on us. And I think you can
Yeah,
have a different opinion, definitely, but
yeah,
that cannot affect your relationship with the person. You can agree to disagree, you can have a particular opinion, do not impose it on others. So my sister, for instance, she has quite a decent following on social media, and a lot of people follow her stories. And she has been, in fact, gotten into many I would call them unnecessary, futile arguments with people who were pro BJP, and they kept constantly tagging her on information which was obviously anti, farmers. So ultimately, what we are left with is only blocking them, because when they don't give up, then you have to sort of eliminate social media interactions with these people.
yeah, exactly. That's right. And Rajvi, when we talk about media, we have also got some news that recently, I think it was only yesterday, that one of the media reporter, I think his name was,
Mandeep,
I
Mandeep,
forgot.
Mandeep
Indeed, yes. He was picked up by
from Kaur.
the Delhi police, yes, which is really, very unfortunate. And of course, it's not something expected when your revolution is at
Yeah,
peak going on.
yeah,
And in front of such a big crowd, this has happened.
yeah,
And we have seen that there are many farmers, especially the youth, who are actually missing from the protest as well. And there have been few helpline numbers that's been given
yes,
to
yes.
report, and their families are running behind that. So with all these trends happening up, families will actually feel it's safe to send their, families over there and be participating.
They are
I
not.
remember even Kavar Garewal this morning, he said, even I can be picked up.
Yeah, even Kavar Garewal said even I can be picked up.
Yes.
Exactly. But but he also said that, you should come with that mindset that you might not go back home. So only those people should be a part of this protest. And the announcements are being made in the villages that families must send their people to the protest, and they'll be charged a certain amount of fine. Or obviously he made a statement, where कि ਇੱਥੇ ਦੁਕਾਨ ਆਇਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਚਲ ਜਾਓ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਚੂੜੀਆਂ ਪਾਓ. If you're not a man enough, then wear bangles at home. So yes, families are scared. We have a lot of volunteers. The families are also scared, and they're calling them back home. Um, but things are now kind of getting streamlined. Um, this will happen. This will continue to happen. You've seen with the comedian Munawar. He has been picked up for no rhyme or reason, in the sense, for no mistake of his, for not even cracking a joke which we thought we kind of uh, thought that he's going to crack a joke, but which he never did. But still, he got picked up, and he's been behind the bars for so long. And this happened obviously in this month, and this has been happening in this country. And luckily, in our case, I think with the way people have come together with helplines and the lawyers who've come together, who are trying to help people, um, we see that this issue will definitely get arrested, and we will definitely get our people out. It's going to be difficult, but there's a lot of awareness with a lot of amplification of social media, on social media. Uh, I'm sure, we will be able to sort of ensure that, this man, especially Mandeep Punya, and the other people who were picked up during the Republic Day parade, will sort of come out. It'll be difficult, but the amount of people who are coming forward, the amount of lawyers who are coming forward, the amount of volunteers who are coming forward to sort of give their free services to bring these people out. I am 100% sure. Apni qaum hi idda di hai. We will not give up, especially when it comes to our people. I'm sorry, I've made a very controversial statement, but it is a fact.
Do you still meet people that don't know about the protest?
Yes, I do. So I have this
And
habit of wearing my badge everywhere. I wear my Kisani badge the moment I step out, even for my work meetings, for any work commitments, when I go out with my friends. I, in fact, went out partying once and I was carrying the Kisan Ekta Morcha flag with me. And I actually took out the flag in the club, literally. And when I do that, I have people at the airport when I'm wearing my badge or when I'm buying this yellow band which says I support farmers. Uh, People do come to me and then they're like, what is this happening? What is the issue with farmers? So they'll never say that, I hope they are fine or they're showing their concern towards farmers, but they'll be like, what is the issue with farmers? Why are they not listening to the government? So there's lack of awareness in spite of so much information being available online because people don't want to educate themselves and they think that it's none of my business. It's not affecting me. It is affecting you, but you do not realize that in the long run, it's going to affect you a lot. Maybe in the next 1 or 2 years, but you refuse to. You have already so many problems of your own that you don't want to educate yourself.
I have come across a few people that when I mentioned this to them, they've said, yeah, no, I don't know about it. And I'm thinking, you're Punjabi, the social media is crazy. And how do you not know about it? It's obviously ignorance. And the other people that I meet is the people that say it affects my business. And that's why I don't pull trip anywhere. And I think that's very sad because what about those who are there on the ground? What about their business? Our business in the West can still get government support, but in India, there's no government support. So I think it's very sad that don't know.
But having said that, Ranjit, I will also like to highlight there are people who probably might not be aware of it, but they've reached out to me. I remember when I came here the first time and I went back home to Hyderabad, I have had friends who've reached out to me, called me, sent me messages, especially that can you spend time with us and explain us about about these laws? Can you tell us what is their demand? Why are they sort of protesting? And I literally spent time with them. I sat with them and I took them through because as for a normal citizen, they need to understand these black laws. There has to be a layman language, for them. Because these are complicated laws for a normal person, even for me. I mean, I wouldn't say that I understand them 100%, but I keep going back. I keep reading those laws because I don't know when you will be challenged, So I have had people who've reached out to me who wanted to understand these laws, who wanted to understand the reason why the farmers are protesting and why have they not agreed to, in spite of so many meetings, why are they not agreeing to what the government is offering? So there are people, we have a mixed bag, literally. There are people who want to, come and support. And there are also people who do not know anything, but still want to support farmers.
Yeah. I know there are all those people who want to know it. They want to check whether you have done PhD and that's why you're supporting. I know that you will always come across these kind of people, but it's okay. Even if you don't know and you are standing with the farmers, they know it. And I even came across one statement by one of the union leaders from, I think they were from Bangalore side of farmers.
Yeah.
He mentioned that it took them nearly 20 days when the law initially came just to make a sense of that. And they were the one who were leaders who had the knowledge of laws and everything, and that's what they concerned. They said if it took them 20 days, how could a simple farmer, an uneducated farmer, could hardly understand that? They will say, okay, whatever the government is doing is fine. And the word that they used for these 3 laws was a death warrant. So I think if we trust them, we should just stand with that this is a death warrant, and we stand with the farmers whenever they say, okay, it's no longer a death warrant, it's all sorted, we are fine. We just need to stand with them. I think that's kind of support. And there is always time to stay educated, as you said, read Trolley Times, and probably there could be an information session. I think that can be done. You don't have to be a scholar in all this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And now with all of this happening, I'm telling you, there's a new layer. Literally, more and more people are joining. It's unbelievable how more and more people are joining every day. Like Ghazipur border, which had the least number of people, now it has like more than
it has
gone beyond 3 lakh. Exactly. So
there's no space to stand.
Precisely. And I know personally of a lot of my friends who want to come back when I go back to the border now, from my hometown, from Hyderabad, where people want to join the protest. So I feel that this has kind of this whole whatever has happened. I believe in whatever happens for the best. God has a bigger plan. So this had to sort of push us a step forward. That's why this happened to us. And now just see the jazba is something else in people. We've come back um, uh, with a renewed energy for the protest now. It's like jida
So
jang fir
Rajvi,
se navi shuru hui hai.
so regarding that, with the farmers' mentality, we ask each other here, how do you feel? You mentioned a couple of weeks ago that you used to spend a lot of time talking to the locals and helping them mentally, spending time with them, talking to them. Are you still doing that when you go back now? Will you still be doing that more so now? Because it's so important that they have that support. And I think it was right. Only be here if you're going to be 100% supporting, because ki pata kallu ki hona, like you don't know what's going to happen. But more so that it's so corrupt anyway. You could be picked up any point. But are you helping?
Right.
Are you going to go back to helping them?
Yes, absolutely. That's my intention now. Now at this point, I'm all the more clear that when I go there, more than anything else, because um, uh, donations apne aap hoi jani hai, money to items to everything is being sorted. But what they need right now for us to go spend time with them and tell them that we are there with them, and that is going to be my main purpose when I enter these borders, when I'm spending time there. To be with them. In fact, with a friend of mine, Mankiran Telo, who has been at the border from the beginning. She's been doing cleanliness drive there. So we are kind of reaching out to many therapists who can sort of volunteer at the borders and come spend time with these farmers. Now, this come spending time doesn't mean that you have to do sessions with them. When you come spend time with them, you are probably just giving them a tight hug, and that could probably help them release all the stress and all the worries that they have on this earth. So I have connected with a lot of, like, I did a session on the Project Punjab with a therapist as to how we can help these farmers, in terms of therapy, or to help them release their stress or all the traumas that they're carrying, probably unknowingly. They don't know how to release it. Obviously, they don't know. They don't understand this concept. We just think that, oh, we are a warrior race, so nothing can bother us. We cannot show our tears, or we cannot show them that we are weak. It's not the sign of weakness, but it's just all the stress which kind of sometimes finds space in your body, and you just don't know how to release, but it ends up becoming some pain in your body. It could be like a headache. So I have reached out to a lot of my therapist friends, and we might do a drive, where they can sort of go to the border, spend time with these farmers, just have conversations with them, and probably in your conversations you can give them that hope that all is well.
What is the with the friends that you have there that are currently still there? What do they say that the sense on the ground is right now? Like, how are everyone feeling in the second phase?
Chardi Kala. I spoke to a friend just last night. Yeah, they said the vibe is something else right now. There's like I said, there's a renewed energy in everyone. Where they know that this has to be won no matter what.
And I think जिस तरह कहंदे हैं ना कि हुन पता लगेगा, it's a time for an exam, कहंदे हैं ना, इम्तिहान दा समय है. It is like that now. We are at that particular stage.
Absolutely.
And I think unity is going to play a big role at this stage. It's very important. We don't get distracted by small issues, by our own personal differences. We don't make small issues as a big one. That's going to be, yes.
Yeah. I think
yes.
in unity and patience, these are going to be our biggest tools in this protest. We cannot become aggressive. We have to be way more in terms of even fighting this battle. I think they will have obviously a proper plan, and as to when we are in a situation like this. So they're already working on it, of course. The leaders are, and the groups which are there already. They're working on plans as to how in the future, when we are met with situations like this, how to arrest them.
Yeah.
So
And at the same
patience and
time,
unity,
Rajvi,
keywords.
yes,
Hanji,
patience
Hanji.
and unity, absolutely. And I've also, from our platform, we also want to, send a message to the leaders over there. We know that they're the ones who are actually leading over there. But sometimes, with all the stress that comes and with all these media issues, and when you're managing such a big crowd and you have to listen to so much, I
Yeah,
think words play a very important role. And if
important.
something like that comes from a mouth of the leader, it
Yeah,
can spoil such a big revolution. And that has actually happened recently with some
yeah.
of the leaders not using the appropriate words. So I think a message
Words. Yeah,
needs to go back to them to be
yeah,
really think 100 times before they speak, when
yeah,
they especially address a press conference and everything, because people are
yeah,
watching you from everywhere.
yeah,
And these days
yeah.
with social media, the media can play, and they can play up with the
Absolutely.
videos and everything, so it's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
important.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think as if all of us stay united and if all of us stay focused, unity, focus, and patience. These are the three
Yes,
things that we need to keep in mind right now. And not digress
yes,
from the main topic. We are fighting here for the farmers, we are here for the farmers, and we are here of the farmers. So let's not
yes.
move away from that main topic and share, amplify information which is correct.
Mm,
Do your background search. Don't just randomly share information. I usually check with my journalist friend, before sharing any information. Listen, is there any credibility to what is being? Because you get tagged on a daily basis on so many posts, and you should not feel compelled to reshare them. This is something which I want to tell people. If you are
yes,
constantly getting tagged on Insta stories, don't feel compelled to sharing them, because you don't know whether it's true or not. So just research, check whether it is factual, whether it is relevant, and also information which might instigate others. I always try to eliminate
yes.
sensitive information, because it can instigate any of us. We are in such a uh,
Hmm. That's
weak
right.
point right now. Yeah,
Yes, yeah. And I echo your words. This protest is for the farmers, by the farmers. It was
of
started
the
by the
farmers.
farmers,
Yeah,
but now the whole world, I think
yeah,
every section of the community is standing for them. It's a people movement, and
yes,
that's what everyone
yes,
needs to understand.
absolutely.
Yes. Ranjit Penji, I'll let you wrap up now.
Yeah, so the idea is make lots of noise about the farmers with your family's friends, because you'll be surprised who doesn't know. Trust me. Share a post on social media
Yeah,
or even just a story. The issue
yeah,
remains, and it's our duty to speak out and make lots of noise. And if not now, when? This is second phase. As Rajveer said, there'll be a third phase. So let's not be too late on this, because it is in our hands to do this. Are there any last comments you want to make, Gurinder Benji?
No, I think we have said it all. It's a people movement, so stay united,
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah,
yes, and victory
And
will be there.
Rajveer?
together we can, and we will.
Yes, it's a very good message.
Yes,
It is.
yeah,
It's all about being together, and we'll be able to
together.
help each other at least, if anything.
Yes,
So thank
yes,
you, Rajvi, for joining our show. We are so happy that you came on and gave us inspiration, you gave us exposure, you gave us the experience that we wanted to hear. So I'm really glad that you joined. And the Sangha, thank you for joining us as well. If you've got any comments or a topic that you would like shared, covered, then please send us an email to hello@thecourseshow.com. And if you would like to see any of our previous shows, then please visit our website, thecourseshow.com. Thank you, everybody. Vai de casa, vai de
thank you.
kate.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Sat Shri Akal.